Well, good morning, everybody. It is April Fool's Day and Easter Monday. Hope everybody had a great Easter. I know we had a great show yesterday morning for the members to celebrate Easter. If you missed it, go back and check it out. It was quite uplifting. Who did I miss in the pre-party? There's my girl Chloe Jade with the new avatar, looking beautiful as always. V. Oakley has made it in. Woo, there's our girl Connie S. Ramblin' Rome. Hey. Hey, Auntie M. Joy K made it back. Christina, Madam Secretary, says it's April Fool's Day. Don't be fooled. Good morning and happy April. And I say this all the time when we have a new month, but can you believe it's already April? Seems like I was just bitching about the cold the other day. Good morning, Nani. Good morning, Katie. And now I'm going to start bitching about spring storms in Oklahoma because I almost was going to reschedule this show because the Wi-Fi is already sketchy here. They were saying this storm was going to move in later this afternoon. Well, it appears to be coming on us right now. And it's already pissing me off because it is so muggy outside. So friggin' muggy that I have a headache and my stomach doesn't feel well. Nani's right. Time goes by fast. It'll be Christmas next week. My goodness. We have a very special day today because it is Tony's birthday. Everybody, before we do our holas, let's please wish Tony a very, very happy birthday. And what a bizarre, scary, and strange case this is. Caleb Harris has been missing for almost a month. And in a very, well, from what I can see, a very short window of time. I can only think of a few scenarios. He had a random run-in with someone. There was an accident. He took off on his own. That doesn't seem very plausible. Had some issues with some friends. And I don't mean the friends that were there. I think they've already been drug enough. But hey, you never know. Let's tell everyone, hola, and so glad you're here on this fine Monday morning. Nani, you are so right. She said, if we had a normal case, I would think it's an April Fool's joke. Seems like all these cases have a touch of mystery and intrigue. Exactly, which is why we get together and discuss them. If it was open and shut, wouldn't really be anything to talk about. I mean, like on your local news, they'll say, oh, overnight there was a shooting at 31st and Peoria. Then by the noon news, they're like 2 arrests have been made. In this morning's breaking news, nothing to discuss. They solved it. So what we talk about on here, even though I'm called a tragedy pimp, how come they only talk about viral cases? Well, it's viral because we're all trying to figure it out. When we're all putting our heads together, it means there's interest trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And this would definitely be one of them. Although I am shocked that there is not more coverage of Caleb Harris's disappearance. I honestly believe it was overshadowed by Riley Strain. Not my fault. I'm the last to know anything. And until further information comes out, Riley's death appears to be an accident. Although I did make a small little comparison between Kylie Rodney's parents and Riley Strain's on the community tab. You can see it. You want to scroll through the community tab. I said, unlike Kylie Rodney's parents, Riley Strain's parents aren't taking no for an answer. They want the I's dotted. They want the T's crossed. They want to know what the hell really happened. Woo! Woo, did they not come after me? How dare you talk about Kylie Rodney's parents? How dare you? What is wrong with a parent getting a second opinion when something doesn't add up? And for everything I can see with Caleb's parents, they're going to be the same way. They are not going to take this setting down. For one, they have upped the reward. $50,000. If you have information, $50,000. There's no reports of like a girlfriend he would sneak off with. There's no bad blood that anyone knows of. So what is it? Because what we know so far is that on March 3rd, Caleb had planned a fishing trip with his friends. After he spent a day on the water, he called his dad, discussed different lures he used. Later that evening, he joined his roommates outside their off-campus apartment. This is important because a lot of people say, well, they lived on campus. Don't they have campus security? You ever seen campus security? It's like watching that movie, Paul Blart Mall Cop. Crazy. Anyway, off-campus apartment in the cottages at Corpus Christi. Spending time with the dog. By the way, the dog has been accounted for. I'm not doing another dog gate, if you know what I mean. Been through too many dog gates over the years. At 2:44 a.m. on March 4th, Caleb sent a Snapchat to his sister. After that, he ordered food through Uber Eats. However, when the driver arrived at 3:20, Caleb was nowhere to be found, leaving the food at the doorstep. This is a really odd statement. And this is from a local news reporter. Why would the Uber driver, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, what have you, Instacart, the local booze delivery man, well, I get that would be different. Why would that statement be made? Caleb was nowhere to be found. Most of us have contactless delivery. I get a picture on my phone. Your shit's here. That's it. They don't know what I look like. What's it matter? What is this? The Uber Eats said he was nowhere to be found, leaving the food at the doorstep. That's normally how it's done. I'm probably looking a little too much into that. Supposedly, the Uber driver has been cleared, showed their route, the whole 9 yards. But nobody's got to meet my ass to drop off OJ's chicken nuggets. And yes, OJ likes chicken nuggets. Okay, when his roommates began their day, they found the untouched Uber Eats delivery and started searching for Caleb. They couldn't find him. They filed a missing persons report. I do want to know, did they call his parents first? I'm getting conflicting stories about this. What if he had an argument with a roommate, got in his car, and hightailed it back to New Brownsville? I don't know. I'm sure all the due diligence was done, considering they did file the report. But this could just be the reporting. Okay? This could just be the reporting. Caleb was nowhere to be found leaving the food at the doorstep. How many of you, if you're having food delivered, need a meet and greet with the delivery driver? I personally don't. Mike Jetson said, so he was at A&M at Corpus. Yes, Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi. Again, the reward is 50 grand, but there was also another Snapchat. So at 2:44 a.m., Monday, March 4th, he sent a Snapchat to his sister. Of what? I don't know. But at 3:03 a.m., he sent another Snapchat to a high school friend in San Antonio at approximately 3:03 a.m., showing a small bridge near the apartment complex. That's the last known location data from his cell phone. Seems a little odd, don't you think? Damn sure does to me. And here's the picture he sent. I wonder what about this little bridge? It's not like there's a roaring river underneath it or a bunch of people hanging out on it. Caught his attention that he needed to send that to his high school friend in San Antonio. It's not like he sent it to any of the roommates. And I've got conflicting stories about what he said in the Snapchat. It makes me wonder if he came across two people arguing. But again, if he fell into this, he'd have dusted himself off and been okay. Again, it's not like a roaring river or anything. But he sent this picture to his high school friend. I don't get it at all. Hang on, I gotta pull something up. I mean, people send random stuff. But something here at, again, 3:03 a.m. got his attention. And he's gone. He's gone. Slim said, has the high school friend spoken out? Not like on social media or to those goofballs at News Nation. But they know the Snapchat went to him. Sarah said maybe the bridge brought back memories. Maybe memories with that friend. That's what I was thinking too. That could be it. It could be that simple. It's just that this is just right by his apartment complex. He went outside barefoot. Another barefoot story. He goes by this bridge every day. So why he sent that picture at 3:03 a.m. to a friend that's nowhere near around, it doesn't make any sense. If there was some sort of danger on the bridge, I would think that, or something peculiar, he would send it to the roommates. Really strange. All right, he was also seen earlier in the evening. I say earlier in the evening. I mean, to me, it would be, well, to me, it's called early morning when I'm getting up. But this is the doorbell surveillance of him and his friends in the parking lot.
continuing our coverage this Friday night into the urgent search for Caleb Harris. Tonight, we're reviewing new video of the Island University student appearing to be from the last night that he was seen.
A ring camera capturing some of his last movements before his mysterious disappearance.
So take a look here. Caleb can be seen in the parking lot at his off-campus apartment complex off of Ennis.
Off of Ennis Jocelyn around 1 a.m. We know that the last message was sent, the Snapchat, at 3:03 a.m. Now, someone's going to have to school me on this Snapchat business because I thought they go away in like poof in like 10 seconds. Obviously, they can be retracted out of the phone. He doesn't appear to me to be in any distress. But that was before 3:03 a.m. when he posted the bridge picture. Well, I say posted, sent it to his friend on Snapchat. Some people have really blown this up, and they said they can see two people in it. My eagle eye is not that good, so I can't help you with that. But this is right by their apartment complex, off campus. This is something that he goes by quite frequently. So why send that at 3:03 a.m.? Makes zero sense to me.
Ms. Jocelyn, around 1 a.m., he was with one of his roommates, a friend, outside playing with a dog. Caleb's face visible as he looked toward the ring camera before they make their way back in the other direction on that night in early March.
And the search for Caleb Harris now in its third week. Just yesterday, his parents offering a reward of $25,000.
Scratch the $25K, because Mama and Daddy Harris are now offering $50,000. $50K. If you look at the banner at the bottom, Randy Harris, who I did invite to come on this show, Caleb's father asked anyone with information that could lead to his safe return to contact 361-826-2950. $50K. So they can scratch the 25. Like I said, when I was talking about Riley Strain, and I'm not trying to compare cases, and I got my ass pummeled for even having the gall to bring up how Kylie Rodney's parents didn't ask a question with her very suspicious disappearance and autopsy. Riley Strain's parents, like many others, like Michaela Jones' parents, when they were told Michaela overdosed, they were like, nah, doesn't sound like her. They had a second autopsy done, and what did they find out, lo and behold? Back of her skull was cracked. Nah. So don't think Ma and Pa Harris are going to take this laying down.
For his safe return. Now, to create a sense of urgency for anyone who may have information and hasn't come forward yet, a deadline of March 31st has been placed on that reward. You can call Crime Stoppers where you can remain anonymous. And we will, of course, continue to follow this story and update you with any new development.
Woo! And unlike the powers that be in Tennessee, look at me rhyming, the people in Corpus Christi have been transparent. They have been letting the local media know what's going on with the case without divulging too much. Because I think we can agree in the case with Summer Wells, the Solomon case, Sebastian's case, and others, keeping it close to the vest is an understatement. Corpus Christi police is letting everybody know that they're on it. They are on it. Now, detectives in Corpus Christi traveled up to San Antonio to do more investigating, and again, being transparent. Telling people this is what we're doing. Carly with an eye said, I would be having my eye on these friends, in my opinion. Yeah, I want to know. Supposedly somebody was in there asleep on the couch. We have more friends sleeping when something's going on.
Coverage tonight on the search for a missing New Braunfels man. Tonight, that search expands, with Corpus Christi detectives now traveling to San Antonio and New Braunfels to search for leads.
And it's been more than 2 weeks since Caleb Harris vanished without a trace. Authorities say the 21-year-old college student was last seen at his off-campus apartment complex in Corpus Christi. Overnight on March 4th, loved ones say that Harris let his dog out, then disappeared.
KENS 5 reporter Hannah Tita has been following developments for us. And Hannah,
Again, I'm not doing dog gate, but the dog came back. The dog came back. Caleb did not. That's a big problem. The food was just left out on the steps, like most food is when you order delivery. I don't know why people find that odd. They're like, well, why didn't the Uber driver call 911 when he didn't answer the door? Well, nobody else answered the door, which tells me it wasn't odd. I don't think anybody knocked on the door. I think they dropped the damn food off, sent a picture like they always do.
police are giving new insight on their investigation.
That's right, EC's Henry. The Corpus Christi Police Department is the lead investigating agency on this case. And tonight, they are telling the public to expect some changes in their search for the young New Braunfels man. But the police chief assures us this is not a step back. It's just a step in a different direction.
Mysterious disappearance of a college student continues to baffle Corpus Christi.
We have daily briefings.
Police say 21-year-old Caleb Harris lived just a few miles from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Caleb's family told KENS 5 he took his dog out for a walk at about 2:45 a.m. on March 4th. Caleb reportedly let his dog back inside. Loved ones say Caleb was spotted barefoot on surveillance video. We're told he only had his phone, which was dead or turned off by 3 a.m.
We recover 96 to 100% of our missings every year, year over year. This is outside the norm, the circumstance.
Man, I hate hearing that. This is outside the norm, the circumstances. As if that doesn't make my stomach do cartwheels. This is outside the norm. Rexy said, did they all go back into the apartment? Then Caleb went back out by himself. Yes, that's what we're understanding. Now, my understanding is this is a puppy. So, I mean, it takes a while to get puppies trained. I would think the puppy would be on a leash, or any dog, honestly. You go out, you let them do their business. Did the puppy have a leash on? I can't seem to get the answer to that question. And also between you all, me, and the gatepost, I'm having an impossible time getting my lives posted in these goofy Facebook groups. Some are super, super good, don't get me wrong. But man, I don't have it in me to do Facebook groups again. Rexy says he put the puppy back up before he disappeared. And then we hear that the puppy came back on its own. Go figure. That's what happens in these cases.
Here, and we're certainly putting the effort in.
The Corpus Christi Police Department says volunteers scoured hundreds of acres around the apartment complex. Officers then went door to door, searching more than 30 vacant apartments. Investigators say they interviewed Caleb's roommates, friends, family members, and several acquaintances. But so far, they have no reason to suspect anyone was involved in Caleb's disappearance.
You may not look out your kitchen window and see as the grid searches and all the physical, the canine searches that we're doing, helicopters and waterway searches, but there's a lot going on.
Detectives are now focusing on digital clues. We're also told investigators have been traveling to San Antonio and New Braunfels to interview people.
We're working with state, federal, all of our local partners, Texas Rangers, to see, have we missed anything? Is there a rock we haven't overturned?
And tonight, Caleb's father, Randy Harris, told me he is still in Corpus Christi, doing everything he can to help investigators find his son. The New Braunfels family is continuing to ask the San Antonio community for prayers. Anyone who has information is asked to call Corpus Christi Police. Henry?
Whew. Jen GA said, yep, I've seen both stated, and that's a big difference we need cleared up. As early as this morning, 2 different publications had 2 different stories regarding the puppy. One said the puppy was put back up and then he went out and took his own walk. Why? When he was waiting on food. What sense does that make? If he's waiting on his food, why go? I mean, I've had puppies before. If they look like they're sniffing around and they're about to take a dump on my carpet or something, I jump up, put their leash on, and take them outside. Then another publication said that the puppy came back. Hell if I know.
Coverage into the disappearance of Texas A&M Corpus Christi student Caleb Harris. Corpus Christi police say they are still very active in this search, sharing the latest on their continued efforts to find the 21-year-old student as we approach a month since he seemingly vanished without a trace back on March 4th. And tonight, our Bill Churchwell sat in a one-on-one interview with Assistant Police Chief Todd Green. Police also addressing misinformation as well as allegations that have been circulating online.
Well, and that's going to happen in any case. You know, it's like the gossip game in school. You start with one thing. Then by the time you get to the end of the circle, it's become something totally different. Angel P said it was so foggy, super foggy. Almost makes me wonder if when he was around that bridge, if someone didn't hit him with a car and scooped him up and took him somewhere. It's happened before.
And Leslie, police say they can rule out those roommates and they can also those friends that Caleb was communicating with that night over social media, and also ruling out the Uber driver that made the food delivery. Police telling us they've investigated those individuals very thoroughly. This as investigators are now heavily focusing on behind the scenes work. That includes looking at digital data they've collected.
Okay, roommates are ruled out. I know some people aren't going to believe that, and that's okay. You never know. Roommates ruled out. Other friends he had communicated with, ruled out. The Uber girl, Uber Eats, that idiots are saying, well, when he didn't answer, how come she didn't call 911? Serenity now is all I can say when I read things like that. Mermaid, why was he by the bridge again? Your guess is as good as mine. Why did he take a picture of the bridge? If he's already taken the dog out and the dog is back inside and he's waiting on food, whether it's a no contact delivery or Caleb feels the need to speak one-on-one with the food delivery people, I don't know. It makes no sense for him to take off barefoot walking unless he was taking the dog out again. I tend to believe that he was taking the dog out, whether the dog had a leash or not, I don't know. Most dogs will get away from you without a leash unless you're a really good trainer. I am not. But it seems that he goes out to this grassy patch to let the dog do its business. Question is, did he see something on the bridge? I've seen two different texts. One that says he said he Hitler. Hitler. Well, he didn't see Hitler on the bridge, so we can forget that one. Okay, Hitler was not on the bridge. It could have been an autocorrect where he was witnessing something where he said he hit her. I need more. Exactly, Slim. He hit her. Need a little more clarification there.
Do you still need people in the community, of course, if they might have any doorbell camera, ring camera, blink cameras, anything like that? How much does that help out in an investigation like this?
Oh, it's tremendous. Unfortunately, the night he disappeared, it was extremely foggy. And the video that we've collected already, gone to over 50 businesses and different residents, private residences, and collected video. Of the 50 that we've been to, we've collected, I believe, 27 different sources of video. The problem with that is a lot of it is very difficult to see because it was so foggy that night. But it is valuable to us. We're using it.
There are a few other missing person cases as well that are still open. But when you have cases like this, or when you have an investigation like this, do you add more people to focus on that investigation, or is it a department-wide type of deal where everyone kind of gets involved?
Well, in this particular situation, the circumstances were so unusual. Immediately, we started getting a lot of people involved. We had detectives out there. We recruited Texas Search and Rescue. We recruited, I say recruited them. We reached out to them to assist in the search. We did a massive search around the immediate area. We brought in our forensic computer examiners to download his laptop.
Okay, so they're on it. I know in a few days, as this continues, and it's already almost been a month, we're going to start seeing the corruption posts. You're going to start seeing a lot of people saying, I used to live in that town and the corruption is crazy. You wouldn't even believe the corruption in that town. I tried to file a report from something that happened to me in 2013 and they wouldn't even take my call. They're on it. I also, with the text, I don't know if he was using talk to text or if he was really typing something in. Evelyn said, or he hit me, taking photo as evidence of the two people there. That's very plausible.
We brought in crime analysts to go out and start searching for surveillance video, for ring camera video and whatnot. I know there's been several in social media suggesting that we've had several missing persons of the same age and males, and that, you know, there appears to be, you know, maybe some kind of conspiracy or something going on. Early on in the investigation, we went back and reviewed all of the missing persons reports for the last 3 years to look to see if there was any connection. Now, there are some similarities, and there's some similarities. Caleb was an avid fisherman, avid hunter. We've had a couple other missing persons where it's similar. They're avid fishermen or avid hunters, but there was nothing that we found that showed any type of a connection.
We spoke with Caleb's dad, and he said he was 100% confident in CCPD that you guys are doing everything you can to find his son. Are you confident in the department and the work you guys are doing to find Caleb?
I'm very confident. I've been amazed by the work that's being done behind the scenes. We have some very talented people. They're not out on, you know, driving around in a patrol car. They're behind the scenes going through computer data, issuing search warrants for digital information, subpoenas, all those types of things. And it's not a glamorous job, but they're doing incredible work.
Just some of the questions from Bill's one-on-one interview with Corpus Christi police today. What we've also gotten from police is the most detailed timeline to date coming from authorities regarding Caleb's disappearance. So here's what.
Okay, the sound on this video is low on my end too. I really don't know what to do to boost it. I have no idea, but here's the timeline. Okay, the chief was, the assistant chief was basically saying that they're combing through everything. They have interviewed the roommates, the Uber driver, friends that don't even live there. So 2:20 a.m., Caleb places a delivery order. 3:03, he sends a Snapchat photo. That's at 3:03 a.m. 3:20 a.m., the Uber Eats driver delivers the order. Then March 4th, around 11 a.m., he's reported missing. Now, 12:56 a.m., just after midnight on March 4th, a doorbell cam sees Caleb. 2:44 a.m., I believe this is the Snapchat he sent to his sister. 3:12 a.m., they says last known connection to cell tower. Now, these pings get really confusing because when you're trying to get a signal, and I don't mean like in the old days when you had a bag phone in your station wagon. I mean, even now, it's going to go to whatever tower it can reach out to. So I'm not going to look too much into the pings. That's what they have the computer experts for. 11 a.m., March 4th, his roommates find the delivery order. March 4th, again, around after 11 a.m., they filed the missing persons report. Rexy said, yeah, when was a text sent? Well, call it what you want. He Snapchatted his sister at 2:44 a.m. and then a friend that he went to high school with at 3:03 a.m. And that's the bridge picture. I'll put it back up. Harris sent, who the hell is calling me? Harris sent another Snapchat photo to a high school friend in San Antonio at approximately 3:03 a.m., depicting a small bridge near his complex. This is the last known location data from his cell phone. And then the text, which I'm just going to assume, I have no proof, was talk to text, accompanied this Snapchat at 3:03 a.m. Hopefully that clears it up.
what police have outlined to 3 News. Now, there are several details in this. On the evening of Sunday, March 3rd, Harris spent time at the apartment with roommates and a friend. 12:56 a.m. Monday, March 4th, doorbell camera shows Harris, a friend, and one of his roommates in the parking lot of his complex. 2:20 a.m. A second roommate says he's going to bed. Harris stays up to order Uber Eats. At 2:44 in the morning, Caleb sends a Snapchat video to his younger sister of him walking a dog in the complex parking lot. At 3:03 a.m., Caleb sends a Snapchat photo to a high school friend who lives in San Antonio. That picture, we've learned, showed a small bridge over a drainage ditch within a few hundred feet of the entrance to his apartment complex. At 3:12 a.m., again, this is all on March 4th.
Again, the picture of the bridge, some people are assuming it's like a bridgey bridge, you know, like in Baltimore, like a big old bridge. This is a drainage bridge. Other people have taken pictures of what's over inside of it. It just looks like a big ass ditch. There's no water in it. Again, there's no roaring river. I don't know if it's to collect flood water or what. So he didn't fall in to a small puddle of water and drown.
Is when Harris's cell phone last shared its location information with the nearest phone tower. 3:20 a.m., the Uber Eats driver delivers Caleb's order to his apartment, leaving it at the front door. At 11 Monday morning, one of Caleb's roommates finds the delivery order. His wallet and keys are in the apartment, but his cell phone is gone. So is Caleb. Caleb's roommates report him missing. Police say this is the best timeline they've been able to compile with what's available to them. But as the investigation evolves, it is subject to change. We know that there's a lot of details and information on there. We do have more of that for you in an article on our website, KIITV.com. Now, you might recall the family is offering a $25,000 reward.
$50,000 reward now. And they are very involved in this case. I mean, very, very involved. Again, I invited his father to come on the show. I do not expect him to drop everything he's doing, because when you're looking for your child, well, for one, you don't leave town for whatever reason. And you can't quite take phone calls from detectives and anyone that might have information if you're on here talking to Brooks. That's just how it goes. I think we've seen some other cases where people hightail it out of town when they know they have a missing person in their family. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Harris now enters its 4th week, and a $25,000 reward is now being offered for any information leading to where he could be. Police say the 21-year-old Texas A&M Corpus Christi student disappeared in the early morning hours of March 4th. Caleb's parents say he took his roommate's dog out for a walk, put the dog back into the apartment, and at about 2:45 in the morning ordered Uber Eats. The food was delivered and placed on the doorstep, but Caleb never picked it up. Joining me now to give us the latest update in the search is Caleb's dad, Randy Harris. Randy, thanks once again for joining me. I'm so sorry we're still having this conversation because it means Caleb isn't back home yet. Any weekend leads or updates?
His daddy breaks my heart, and so does his mom. Oh, hang on, I put the wrong comment up. Not that it's not important that Boston said good morning to Connie S. A lot of questions. Did Caleb really call the order in? You could grab my phone right now. It's not going to ask you for a password or anything. You could just open up the DoorDash. He is seen on video. Again, conflicting stories about the dog. Did the dog come back on its own accord because Caleb was now gone? Or did he actually put the dog back up and then walk outside barefoot while he knew he was waiting on food? Some people say he was probably walking to the bus stop, not to get on the bus, but because so many people get their food from that area. But he took a picture of the bridge. Was he taking a picture of two people on the bridge? Did he see an altercation? Did he run into something he shouldn't have? There's questions about wildlife. Anything is possible, and that is the truth. Anything's possible. But with all the dogs they have used, not to be grim, but wildlife makes a mess. Rexy said, would a puppy, hang on, know to go to the right apartment? I don't even know what kind of dog it is. I mean, if OJ can find this house, then anything's possible. Animals have a great sniffer.
You're able to share.
Not a whole lot. I mean, we're just working diligently with the authorities and search groups and family and friends. And today we'll be doing a lot of additional just door knocking. And we've got friends that have donated their helicopters. So I'm going to be up in a helicopter today doing some aerial searches, hopefully some areas that we haven't been able to get to with, 4x4s or ATVs and boats. Not a whole lot of direction just yet. We're still trying to find true north, and we're just hoping today we'll get some breaks.
Yeah, and I know it's all hands on deck, and that police have recently expanded their search into your hometown, New Braunfels, San Antonio. But you're saying you don't even know enough to at least have an area of focus, nearby land or even waterways?
Not right now. I mean,
Okay.
we're chasing every single lead that comes in. Of course, we're offering the reward now, so that's hopefully beginning to bring in some leads that we can at least go look for. That's what we're hoping.
I also understand Caleb has been spotted in some surveillance video. Can you share more with us about what that video entails? Anything concerning in that footage that you saw?
In that particular one, that was around 1 a.m. They were outside playing with the dog, and we've kind of mentioned that they were just outside playing with the dog, having fun, and that was a doorbell camera that caught them out at that, just right there at the apartments.
And which one is Caleb? Which in that video?
The white shirt with the cap.
The white
on.
shirt. Okay. What about phone pings? Anything from his phone record?
At the apartments.
Okay, that's Caleb, because I don't know why some people keep saying that the guy in the green is Caleb. I think his daddy knows who his son is. Pretty sure he can recognize his son. Caleb is in the white shirt. And thank you, Titanium. I do not know the difference between breeds of dogs. It was a little Shih Tzu dog.
And which one is Caleb? Which in that video?
The white shirt with the cap.
The white
on.
shirt. Okay. What about phone pings? Anything from his phone records?
Just 244 sending a snap to my daughter, and then phone went off around 12:58. There were some additional AT&T IP pings that we've been really focused on right there at his apartment, and then pretty close to his apartment area as well. We've been really focused on those because we feel like the phone was possibly there somewhere, but at this point, we'll probably never find the phone because of the time frame that we're in.
Yeah.
But we're still definitely positive.
And we have a map and a route they're going of kind of those last movements with the phone pings. We've also learned that when Caleb disappeared, he wasn't wearing shoes. He didn't have his wallet. he certainly wouldn't have been able to get very far on his own. Do you think Caleb asked for help from someone? Was he that type of person?
We don't know. We really don't know. He is the kind of kid that would help somebody if they needed help. So we really don't know. We don't know if he came up on something and somebody needed help, and we just don't know. We don't have that direction, and that's why we're really begging everybody that has security cameras in and around Corpus Christi and other areas. Just take 5 minutes. Go back to that 2:30 to 3:30 or 2:30 to 4 o'clock time frame and take a look at your camera and see if we can find anything, because in today's technology there's got to be a video out there somewhere.
Yeah. Speaking of videos and just asking for other people to please come forward and help, you're using social media to help in the search for finding your son. How exactly are you using that help, and what do you want people watching right now to know?
Social media is great. I mean, everything from, obviously Facebook and I've posted stuff on some of my business LinkedIn pages, TikTok, Instagram, things like that. We're just hoping that, again, somebody sees something, somebody says something that would lead us to a lead and find him.
Well, we are praying that your family gets answers. We'll continue to keep a spotlight on Caleb and his story. Randy Harris, thanks once again. We'll check back in with you soon. Please keep us posted.
Whew. Telling you something right now, with all the barefoot people that go missing, I'm going to start wearing army boots. Two Boston moms says, Brooks, any drug use that we know of? Not that I know of. They went on a fishing trip that day, had the new puppy, took the puppy out several times. That's pretty much it. Not that I expect that the roommates are going to say, hey, we were all high as a kite and didn't know that he didn't make it back in after he ordered food and took the dog out. We didn't think anything of it. I don't expect the kids to do that. That's just me, though. Well, good old Nancy Grace has weighed in, and she had the parents on on her show. I have to be really careful with those News Nation clips, even when family's on there, because you never know when Jennifer Coffindaffer is going to pop up on the screen and go, well, I hope they've talked to all the friends, and I hope the friends are being cooperative, and I hope the friends have talked to law enforcement. I get so sick of that shit. I about throw the damn TV out into the road and let the trash truck pick it up. Makes me so mad.
Pete, 361-886-2840. And now to kill his father, Randy Harris, joining us. Mr. Harris, thank you for being with us. I can't even imagine what you are going through, you and your wife. My son went missing inside a giant Babies R Us warehouse store.
Dear God, they're not even comparable, Nancy. I love how she brings these things to the forefront. I'm telling you, I do. She's done great work over the years. But losing one of the twins at Babies R Us is not the same as an almost month-long effort to find your college-age son. I just got to put that out there. I don't want to make Nancy Idiot of the Week yet, because right now, Jennifer Coffindaffer, she's got a good stride going. She's about to win the trophy. She's about to win it.
When he was about 3, and just those moments until I found him, I'll never forget it the rest of my life. And you have been living with this since Caleb seemingly disappeared on a foggy night. I want to start at the beginning with you. When did you find out something was wrong?
Well, we text back and forth quite a bit. And so, the next morning, typical Monday morning, maybe he slept in late, whatever, and getting ready for school. around 10:30, and so no big deal. And then we got a call from the roommates. They called my wife, and she immediately called me. I was working south of town, and so I got down here as quick as I can, and that kind of started everything off with meeting with the police again. They were there within 5 minutes of me arriving, and took the report again and immediately raised it to a missing persons.
Guys, you're seeing shots of Caleb. What an outdoorsman. He is out there fishing, camping. There he is getting stuff from Cabela's, which he loved. How could he just vanish? What do we know? Tell me some more about Caleb. He's a student at A&M. What is he studying? Where does he live?
By the way, what a cool campus to go to. Right there on the beach. My goodness. And I'm going to open up the panel right now. Whether you just came across this case today, you've been following it from the get, grab the link. Don't be shy. I don't bite. That's OJ's job. And come up and tell me what you think.
Live. What year is he in school?
2.5 years into school. He's studying environmental science. Definitely just absolutely loves the outdoors, loves fishing, loves hunting. Really got into duck hunting the last couple of years, and just loves all the clothes, wants to be sponsored. He's gonna get his kayak guide license to be able to help people that buy kayaks that really don't know how to outfit them and what to put on them and what to do. And so he's going to do that. Getting ready to go to work in Colorado this summer. Just a lot of stuff. He had texted me that evening, some fishing lures that he's going to use the next day. He's very methodical about species of fish he's going to go fish for. He doesn't just throw a shrimp on a hook. Very, very calculated of what he's going to do. And that was the night before, and he was ready to go the next day, and then he vanished.
To Dr. Jeff Kalashevsky joining us, forensic psychologist, author of Dark Sides. You can find him on YouTube at Dr. Jeff Kalashevsky. Dr. Jeff, thank you for being with us. When someone just seemingly walks away into the fog, we wonder why. That's not what happened here. He didn't just walk away. Think about it, Dr. Jeff. Somebody doesn't order their DoorDash or their Uber Eats and just decide, hey, I'm going to walk out into nowhere. That didn't happen. He was excited about fishing the next morning.
And that, for the people that say, maybe he was depressed, maybe he had an issue with a girlfriend. Well, maybe he did have an issue with a girlfriend. Maybe he did. But he had plans he was super excited about the next day. Muscles and Mascara gifted 20 Crime Lines and Lies memberships if you received a membership from Muscles and Mascara. Please thank her. Basically, everybody on this channel is a member now except for Jennifer Coffindaffer. Come on, let's make it rain. We got to sing the song. And Jude made it in. No late slip necessary. I'm going to put the link up again if anybody wants to come up and talk. I wouldn't doubt that he might be having some girl issues, but he's not going to wander off into the fog barefoot and jump into a puddle of water to check out early. That doesn't make any sense.
About his plans to move to Colorado for a job over the summer. I mean, look at this guy. No sign ever of depression, of any kind of emotional problem, great grades, just living the life, doctor, living the life. Look at him there, out hiking. This guy did not disappear on his own. I would stake everything on it.
Right. In cases like this, a lot of times, right, people wonder about suicide, but it's the idea that you rule a lot of these things out. If there aren't mental health issues, if they're on a history of significant impulsive behavior, then you wonder about accidents. Those happen too. I've lived in college towns where it seems like the same accidents happen at the same place around these towns. For example, kids falling in the river. So that is a potential option. And then what it would leave after that was the possibility of some type of abduction or kidnapping, unfortunately.
Dr. Jeff Kalashevsky, can I just stop you right there? He did not go out on his little stoop at his apartment where he shared his off-campus apartment with his roommates. He didn't step out there to get his Uber Eats and fall in a river. That did not happen. Okay,
Right.
I want you.
No, it didn't. Especially since we've seen the picture of the drainage ditch is basically what it is. It's just a backup to hold flood water. No recent flood. Again, it's not a roaring river. I agree 100% with Nancy. I don't know why people come on her panel because she gets real extra shitty with them sometimes. He didn't step out to get his Uber Eats and fall in the river. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And this poor guy, he can't say shit if he has a mouth full of it. He knows he's about to get his ass handed to him.
To rethink that. Now, I'm certainly no MD, much less a psychologist, but I know that much. When I go out the front door to pick up Uber Eats, I'm not going to fall in a river. An accident.
Right, I'm talking about ruling that out.
Yeah. Okay, I can rule out suicide.
Okay, Detective Nancy is ruling them all out. So when people say maybe he was having girlfriend problems and, he decided, has anyone thought that maybe the girlfriend problems are the other way around? Good looking dude, has his head on straight, loves the outdoors, focused on family, friends, education, new job. Bitches be crazy. Think about that. Speculation only, but think about that. Millie Michelle said, good morning, new sub, great channel. This is one true head scratcher. Barefoot and no wallet or keys, food on the way. Very, very odd. No signs he was suicidal. I believe he was taken. It's got to be something like that. Or an accident. They've had such an extensive grid search, though. Unless someone hit him with a car like some drunk driver and it sobered him up real quick and they were like, pick him up. I don't know. So glad you're here, everybody. Welcome, Melly Michelle. Quick reminder, we are live every morning at 9 a.m. And this case needs more coverage.
I can rule out falling in a river. It's out, okay? Let's don't talk about falling in a river again. Hold on. I have the timeline right. Joining me is Mandy Noel, investigative reporter, News 4 San Antonio. Mandy, thank you for being with us. What's your understanding of the timeline? That's what I'm going to be focusing on right now, because that's how you start a missing person or foul play investigation, with your timeline. Did you hear me in the open say I've got a critical 20 minutes? I think that Randy Harris, who's Caleb's dad, knows the 20 minutes I'm talking about. I'm sure you do too, but I want to get all of the facts I can leading me up to those 20 minutes. Hit me.
You are exactly right. That is a critical 20 minutes, and there's so many questions because, in Police Zone's words, vanished without a trace. It's a strange disappearance. So 1 a.m. and it's
20 minutes. Let's size it up. Don't call me Nancy Grace, but 20 minutes tells me somebody else was involved. 20 minutes tells me someone else was involved. I don't know if Nancy's going through menopause or what, but you couldn't, well, you could pay me enough to go on her panel. I would just sit there like a pig in shit. I'd be like, oh, all right, Nancy. Suds said there would be blood if he was hit by a car. No. If you've seen other cases where people were hit by a car, sometimes bodies come up on the hood. And there's things called a car wash. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to run them over. I'm just throwing out scenarios. Because we're talking about a very short amount of time. He's only a couple of 100 feet from his door. His apartment door. He's waiting on food.
For that 20 minutes. Caleb is on a Ring doorbell camera or some surveillance camera with his roommate, a friend, and their new dog. 2 a.m., the roommate goes to sleep on the couch. Caleb, like Mr. Harris mentioned, preparing his fishing reels the next day. It's the last time his roommate saw Caleb. 2:44, and this is where that critical time starts. Caleb sends a Snapchat, walking the new dog. 2:58, his phone turns off or it dies. Pings at his apartment complex. 3:20, that Uber Eats that he ordered. It's seen on a surveillance camera, but the footage, the information with the footage is kind of wonky. They're saying it could be a 1 hour kind of time swing. As you mentioned, the food's found on the doorstep the next morning. But the other thing to point out here, he wasn't planning to go anywhere. He walked outside without his keys, without his wallet, and he walked outside without shoes on.
Eek! I had myself muted. And I was saying genius things. Here we go. 2:45 a.m. phone pings near apartment. Makes perfect sense. We also know that he sent communication to his sister. 2:58 phone dead or turned off. 3:03 Snapchat to the friend. 3:12 phone pings on Williams Drive. 3:20 Uber Eats delivered. This is a very short amount of time for him to disappear. And I mean without a trace. We're going on a month. We're not talking about a little animal you can, a little person you can put in a duffel bag and carry around like we saw with Harmon Montgomery. He's a big dude. I think he could fight off an attacker. What the hell is really going on?
So that time, you're right, it's critical because it's just this small window where he was communicating with friends and family and then nothing.
Let's take a listen to Dave Mack, Crime Online.
Harris and his roommate spend the evening outside in the parking lot with their new dog. It's a little after 1 a.m. when he heads back inside. He sends a Snapchat to his sister at 2:44, and at 2:45, Caleb Harris orders food through Uber Eats. When the Uber Eats driver arrives at 3:20 a.m., Caleb Harris is not in front of his apartment to accept the delivery, so the food is left at the doorstep.
Okay, back to Randy Harris. This is Caleb's father. He is begging for your help. Join us. help in the search for his boy. Again, the tip line 361-886-2840. Mr. Harris, can I just run through that timeline again with you? So he's outside. They've got a new puppy. It's 1 a.m. The puppy wants to go outside. They're outside with the puppy to TT in the parking lot. At that they're out there at 2:44. He sends his sister a Snapchat, I guess, with the dog. And there's no question it's 2:44. They're timed.
Correct.
Snapchats are timed. And I might add, they time out once you open them. But I've got one more minute, and everybody may scoff, but minutes matter. Minutes matter. Even 1 minute. At 2:45, he orders food through Uber Eats. Is that correct, Mr. Harris?
I really don't have the exact timeline on exactly when he ordered Uber Eats. We do know that the Uber Eats was picked up from the convenience store. 2 Lunchables, a Red Bull, and apple pie. Typical for Caleb. We believe it was delivered around that 3:20 mark because, 3:20 mark because it was picked up at the store, like 2:17 or something like that.
Okay, what did he get? 2 Lunchables?
2 Lunchables, apple pie, and Red Bull.
Okay.
And that's normal. He would go to school, be done by noon, 1 o'clock, get back to the apartment, either a friend or a roommate, and grab their kayaks, and that was their lunch for the afternoon. And, they'd be out till before dark.
Joining me now, Assistant Chief Todd Green with the Corpus Christi Police. Assistant Chief Green, can I confirm with you the Uber Eats time? And I know 1 minute may not matter to a lot of people, but if I saw, for instance, just hypothesizing, another car come into the apartment complex at 2:45, that time would matter. 2:46, that time would matter. Can you confirm with me the 2:45 Uber Eats order?
Yes, that's correct. And it arrived. We confirmed that it was delivered at 3:20 in the morning. We identified the driver, a young lady. We interviewed her, and she did not report seeing anything suspicious at the time. And there's nothing to make us think that she had anything to do with his disappearance. She did not see Caleb.
Yeah. Every time I pause one of these, someone's got their O face on. It seems to always be Nancy. I can't speak for this Uber driver, but considering it's a young woman or a woman at 3 in the morning, roughly, delivering Uber Eats, I would think they would have some sort of camera on their car. Last I heard, and things change minute by minute, Uber requires you to have a camera on your car. They used to offer it. I would think that the footage between where she picked up the Lunchables, apple pie, and Red Bull and to the delivery would tell them a lot.
You just gave me a lot of information. I know it was a short statement, but that's a lot. Number one, the moment you said a female driver, I can tell you right now, the driver's not responsible. Statistically, a female is much less likely to perform any violent act, period. Not happening. Okay, so she's there at 3:20 and she doesn't even see Caleb, correct?
That is correct. She did report seeing one other vehicle leaving the parking lot. We believe we have identified the driver of that vehicle and also have eliminated that individual as a suspect.
Okay, right there. Assistant Chief Green, hold on. I don't want you to publicize the name because then, you know,
Yeah. Please don't. Now, I don't know. I mean, in this day of convenience, a lot of people anymore, and I can be a real lazy bitch. I would rather call Instacart and have them drop my stuff off as opposed to go and battle the grocery store. Has nothing to do with COVID. I've kind of always been that way. This seems to be his normal pattern. So this was not out of the usual for him, that he would order his food earlier, get some sleep, get home from class, eat up the Lunchables and whatever else he has, apple pie, Red Bull, and then take off on the kayak. When I have things delivered, it's an ass load of food like I'm going to the chair. If you told me I had to wait till tomorrow at noon to eat 2 Lunchables, I'd be like, kiss my ass. Good morning, Jewels of all trades, true crime. I have not watched your whole video yet that you have done on Caleb. I'm going to drop the link if you want to come up because I know that you're getting really deep in this case. But again, I can't speak for Caleb. The kayak is not missing. That was one of my first questions. Maybe he was like, whatever, I'm going to go kayaking at, 3 in the morning. I'll pick up my food when I get back. That seems to not be what happened.
thousands of angry people would be coming down on that person as if they were the kidnapper. But can you just tell me a little bit, like, why were they leaving the apartment complex at 3 o'clock in the morning? Did they live there? Were they visiting? Were they leaving for an early morning shift? Why were they leaving?
It was an individual who actually lives in San Antonio and had come down for the weekend to visit his girlfriend at those apartments. And we're not 100% sure.
He had to drive all the way back.
The timeline matches very, very closely. So we believe that's the vehicle that she saw. That individual told us the same thing, that he had left the apartments about 3:30 in the morning. So, and the descriptions
and he didn't
of the
see anything.
No, he did not. He saw a vehicle coming into the apartment complex, which we believe is the Uber Eats delivery person.
Gosh, this just keeps getting more and more odd. Okay, that story makes perfect sense to me. And if he's leaving his girlfriend's apartment after visiting the weekend, he's got to leave at 3:30 in the morning to get back to San Antonio on time for a job. It's highly unlikely a guy is going to leave his girlfriend asleep in bed, taking off for a job, and suddenly decides, oh, there's a guy I don't know. I think I'll kidnap him. That didn't happen. Okay, he's out. Let's pick back up where we are. Guys, take a listen to this.
We know his phone pinged at 3, a little after 3, but we're not sure exactly where he was or if he had contacted anybody with that ping.
Phone actually quit working at 2:58.
Okay, let me follow up.
So the phone quit working at 2:58, but we know a Snapchat was sent at 3:03 a.m. with a weird text attached to it. And as far as him ordering the Lunchables as cheap as they can be, to me, they're already too expensive at the convenience store. The most we can say about him right now, he might be a little fiscally irresponsible. As opposed to going to the grocery store and stacking up on the Lunchables or getting the Instacart or whatever, this is how he does it. Well, hello, Jewels of all trades. Tell me what you're thinking.
Hey, girl, how you been?
Making it day by day, little by little. How about you?
Oh, same, same, same. This case drives me crazy. I've been following this one since it broke. I just didn't do a video on it right away because I wasn't sure I wasn't really sure really quite to make of it. That whole thing that you just mentioned about the phone is really confusing to me because I don't understand how a phone goes off network and then still has 2 additional pings after the fact. That doesn't make logical sense to me. That's very confusing.
Well, and I think that's why they're saying that they're having computer forensics really
Mhm.
cut through this. Because
Yeah.
we know in other cases, I mean, people who are allegedly guilty turned their phone off and they could still see where they were.
Well, that's true too. That's true too. That snapshot photo is really concerning to me though. Just because of the timing, it almost I mean, I don't know if it's like some sort of like SOS photo. Yeah. Like, "Hey man, I hope that you get this picture and understand what I'm trying to tell you because I can't say anything other than send this photo," type situation. Or is he like telling somebody, "Hey bro, meet me here?" That's what I'm really just confused about, but the bare feet and the walking out. But then it turns out if you listen to some more of the I guess the more specific timeline that they seem to have now about when the Uber Eats actually got delivered, he wouldn't have been walking out of his house at 2:58 to meet the Uber driver out front of his apartment 22 minutes later. He lived by the pool, so it's only like a 3-minute walk to the front of the apartment complex, if that, probably more like 2 minutes, if that.
Right.
So that doesn't make sense either. I almost feel as if he went out there for something else that he thought was gonna be done and over with before the Uber driver got there and something just went wrong.
Big time. And the only thing that makes sense to me is that he truly took the dog out. Now, I know his parents say that he put the dog back up, but then there's a conflicting report saying that the dog came back to the door.
Like, by itself?
Yeah. So at what time did the dog come back? That has
But that
got
doesn't even make any sense though, because that dog wouldn't consider that place its home. They just got the dog that day. The dog wouldn't have gone back to that door by itself.
I wouldn't think so.
They just
Unless
got
it
the
just
dog that very
has,
same day.
unless it just has a really good nose.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I heard that he walked in and dropped a dog off at 2:44, or 2:44 was the last screenshot or picture of the dog to the sister, and then he walked back in the house after that. But I always questioned how the hell they knew that. That's why I was kind of like sus on the roommates at first. Now apparently they've been cleared. At least that's what I heard in one of the more recent things. But I was like, okay, the way that it's being described is almost like firsthand knowledge of them watching him walk in, put the dog up, make an Uber order, walk back outside with no shoes. Like it was very firsthand knowledgey to me. So now I'm like even more confused knowing that the only roommate that was apparently still in the apartment at the time was asleep. Like how
Well,
do they know when he walked out the door?
the only thing that I can think of is they have an off-campus apartment,
Mhm.
and there are cameras around there.
Well, yeah,
Now,
but the first initial report said the camera and the gate were both not working that night. That came from the parents.
do they know though? I mean, I hate to say that. I'm not calling them dumb or anything.
I
But
don't
sometimes law enforcement will
Yeah.
say, we don't have that footage because they're going to want to see it.
Well, and I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, it's a possibility, but the only footage that they're mentioning is from like the adjacent apartments and from like
Mhm.
personal ring cameras. So, because I know that there's like some personal cameras that are on the apartments that were not apartment owned that they were able to get from other people, and I believe that that's one of the ones they showed of him outside in the outfit with the hat playing with the dog. It was from a personal ring cam, but
Right.
apparently the gate and somebody and I don't know because people could just instantly be commenting just to have a comment and it actually not be true. But I've had at least 2 people comment and say they live over in that spot and that the gate is still broken. So that's why I'm assuming the parents found out about the cameras in the gate, and that's making everything even more questionable because that just happens to be the day that he disappears.
I assumed since they said the gate was not working. I lived in an apartment complex like this before. And so instead of giving instructions on how to get in, I would go out another gate and walk out to get my stuff.
Right? I've thought about that too. That's what another thing that I questioned. Like maybe he got hit by somebody while he was waiting out there for the Uber driver and things went crazy at that point. Because it was late at night, and it was, I mean, I know it was a Sunday night, but people still drink and drive late at night on Sunday nights. And that's a college area. I mean, somebody could have been wasted and hit him. And maybe that's why the phone kept moving.
And there was a lot of celebrations going on for what I don't know on March 3rd. And I mean, it's plausible. So when people say, well, if he was hit by a car, there'd be blood all over the place. Well, I'm not saying they mowed him down. I'm saying they could have hit him and picked him up.
Yeah. I mean, because for all we know, they could have been like, oh my God, bro, let me take you to the hospital. Let me take you to the emergency room. And then they didn't. Because they freaked out knowing they were going to be in trouble.
Well, I just think it's really bizarre.
It is. It's really bizarre.
Because this is such an odd picture to take. Like you said, is this an SOS? Or I don't think it was an accident because there was a text sent with it.
And see, I wish they would tell us what the verbiage was, because I'm getting all kinds of mixed signals about what it is supposed to be. But no one, as far as I know, has said exactly what the text was to this friend. All we know is that it was a friend that he apparently went to high school with. But I was also thinking about that too when it comes to what this could be. Like, is this a location photo? Because the distance to get back and forth from New Braunfels to Corpus and back to New Braunfels is like this, window of him walking outside and disappearing, and then the roommates finally realizing that he was gone. He could have easily been picked up and brought back up that way, which is another reason why I was like, well, why did they bring the investigation all the way back to New Braunfels if he disappeared in Corpus?
Well, that's what I want to know too. Unless it was just to clear some other things out. We can
maybe
we can take that pawn off the chessboard and get to it. And I'm going to get my ass handed to me for this. Just watch, not in this chat, but just watch the replay.
In general, okay.
In general, just look at the replay comments. They have had a lot of issues in Corpus Christi with what's going on at the border.
Oh, yes, they have. Yes, they have. And anybody who wants to give you shit for that statement is not awake and paying attention to the world around them, and that's kind of sad for them. So, yeah, no, that's a very true statement. And they are very, very close. And there's a lot of scary stuff going on down there. So, yeah, I mean, it is a more college-y area, but that doesn't really mean much of anything. It could very well be something related to that. It's a possibility.
Well, if you want to traffic somebody, you're not going to take my old crusty ass.
Yeah, you're going to take a pretty college boy that's outside waiting for his food with just his phone and no friends and no shoes to run off away from you from, is what you're going to do. Oh, jeez. It's just insane. I just don't understand how people just vanish.
No, I don't either. I mean, I think it's just damn disgusting.
It is. I just don't get it. Especially in today.
On that.
It's nuts.
We all are familiar by now with the Brian Kohberger investigation. Can I tell you what launches a timeline? The fact that one of the young ladies inside that home on King Road ordered, I believe it was a DoorDash.
One of the first things I thought of when I really started getting in this case, and I am slow to the punch. I can't be like other people and just turn on the live and just start talking. I can't. I have to have some semblance of what I'm talking about. But one of the first things I thought of, you have someone asleep on the couch that didn't wake up. Yeah, we have the Uber Eats, but he ordered it. But nobody realized he was gone until 11 a.m.
Yeah. I question that a lot too.
2 people in the apartment had class at 8:30 that next morning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I questioned the class thing because of how late they were staying up. Because the whole beginning of it was, oh, he's supposed to be going fishing after class. I'm like, homeboy's up at almost 4 o'clock in the morning. What class is he going to get to and still be awake enough to go fishing at? I figured it was like a really late session class, which is why he was up so late. But 8 o'clock in the morning. is whenever these other two were supposed to be in class. That's
Right.
wild.
And I don't question how late kids stay up because my kids can run on minimal sleep.
Well, yeah, that's true too. My teenagers are pretty much just robots when it comes to that.
I don't think the Uber Eats driver, who never even saw him, because like I said, they have dash cams. I mean, all of that is right there. But I want to know, when they went out to go to class, how did they not notice the food sitting there?
Yeah.
But supposedly the food was noticed at 11 a.m. and shortly after a missing persons report. Again, I'm not blaming the friends. Something is not adding up. Did everybody sleep in?
And miss class to not have gone to that 8 o'clock class? Yeah, that's a good point. Because that's the only way that makes any sense. But that's why I was questioning it too, because of the way that they made it sound, you know, like they were all pretty much like awake and moving around that apartment, and then watched him walk out at 3 o'clock for Uber Eats, and they like knew specifically that he had ordered an Uber Eats. Unless that was just, maybe they were just telling the story and it was getting all mixed up, but I still just don't understand the way they were coming at it like it was firsthand knowledge, like somebody watched this happen, because that made the whole like 8-hour, it was an 8-hour gap, which is another reason it piqued my interest. But that's why I was like, hold up, how did they not notice? Like, he went and walked the brand new dog. The dog didn't end up like barking at the door, needing to go back outside like a few hours later, and the other person didn't wake up. But yeah, that 8 o'clock class thing, I had no idea. I'm gonna have to look that up. I had no clue. That's even sketchier.
Yeah, I'll send you the post of this woman whose daughter goes to school at that same campus. And she said two of the roommates were, you know, they had an 8:30 class. Now, I sent her a message being, you know, Miss Nosy Neighbor. I said, well, did they go to class? Because that's sketch AF if both of them missed an 8:30 class.
Well, see, what the last report that I read was that there was a couple of people over at the apartment, like, before it was just him and the one other guy. Like, apparently the guy that was visiting and one of the other roommates left to go spend the night somewhere else, so there was just one roommate in the apartment with Caleb. So if the other roommate slept over somewhere else,
Well, there
I can
was one
understand
sleeping
that.
on the couch, a girl. Now, where the other roommates are, I don't know.
There was a girl sleeping on the couch?
Yeah, hang on. I will
See,
find.
I was under the impression that these were male roommates that he had gone to school with back in New Braunfels, because that's how the parents made it sound, like he'd known these people since like grade school.
Oh, yeah, the dad said since like first grade. Okay, I've got it wrong. Sorry. Okay, so Caleb allegedly disappeared soon after his roommate and girlfriend left, and the other roommate slept on the sofa.
Okay, so the one roommate that was left in the house slept out in the open area, and okay, yeah, that's a little strange.
Yeah, I'm not understanding this.
So
I mean,
what I would like to know then is if the Uber Eats driver knocked on the damn door or rang a doorbell at the apartment, because if home dude is on the couch, he heard it. I mean, I would have.
I mean, you would think, and then I look at the San Antonio news, and they're saying that it was so odd that the Uber driver, but this is our media for you, said that, you know, nobody was there. Look, when I order DoorDash, I get a picture on my phone.
Yeah.
They don't even knock half the time.
Mm-hmm.
They take a picture of the app. That's how I know I have Amazon packages, thanks to DoorDash. Because hell, I don't know. And they will I just get a picture saying, you know, your stuff's here. And Kat has a great point. So a new puppy gonna let you sleep till 11 a.m.?
Yeah, they just got the dog that day. Like that freaking day. So it was very brand new. It would have been very uncomfortable in its new environment. Like, I know that he had sent text saying that the dog, I think they named it Jenny. The dog had like gotten real comfortable and was cuddling with the two other people that are in the text, and you know, everything was good. But yeah, I don't see how he got to sleep till 11 o'clock with a brand new animal in the house. I don't understand.
No way. OJ's been
no
here for forever and a day.
Yeah.
he'd scratch at my face at 3 in the morning.
Oh yeah, one of my border collies, she does that whole like possessed child stare until you feel it and wake up when she needs to go to the bathroom. So around like 6 o'clock in the morning, I get woken up to a dog breathing down my face. Yeah, no, I don't understand how he slept till 11. That's insane.
With a new dog, this didn't happen. With an 8:30 a.m. schedule for at least one roommate, this didn't happen. And just
well, not just that, but the Uber Eats driver coming to the door, the dog would have heard it and maybe started barking, making noise because there was somebody outside. That didn't happen to wake up the person in the living room.
And we're going to find out that the dog was going nuts, just like we found out in
With
the
Murphy.
just like we found out in the Idaho 4 case, when everyone said, "Oh, that breed of dog doesn't bark." Just when people were arguing with me saying Dylan and Bethany didn't wake up, and then we get a probable cause affidavit saying
saw everything. Well, saw the person, heard everything. Yep.
They got it all, and the dog was going crazy.
Don't you just love it? Yeah, there's no way that this dog didn't make any noise. There's no way.
Especially it being a puppy with strange noises all around it that they just got that day.
Yeah.
Freaking nuts. I'm so glad for the geniuses on the internet, though, aren't you?
There's a lot of people that sit back and really figure out things that I think maybe a lot of law enforcement don't think about. It's always like the minute details that I find always end up like taking everything to a completely different trajectory. And it's usually something that the cops usually don't really get into. There's always small details like that.
That dog would have been pissing and shitting all over that apartment just out of anxiety alone. And I saw this article, read this article months and months ago. Somebody went to buy a Labrador. That one was already promised to another family. They gave them the wrong Labrador. The people said, "I'm not giving you this dog back. I already paid for it." And they're like, "No, this is the one you were supposed to buy." And they went themselves and waited for that dog to come out to swap them. Craziest stuff I've ever heard. I would have admitted the mistake and refunded some of their money.
That's wild. That's wild. People are crazy.
Oh, you damn right they are. My mind is blown every damn day.
Like, I'm not shocked, but I'm always surprised. It's weird. Like, I know it's coming, but it's still like they reach new levels every time.
I got a new level for you, and this is totally off topic. I shared a public obituary yesterday, and I was accused of doxing.
What?
Yeah.
Some people probably need to look up what words mean before they try to use them in sentences.
Dictionaries are important.
It's literally public. I mean, they know that if it's public information, that means it can't be doxed because it's already out there. I mean, I think people just like to use that word because they hear it a lot on YouTube.
Well, just by certain people.
Yeah.
That was
wild
for me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have all Easter to
explain it.
To fight with people. I'll just take it down. That's one extra chromosome I'm not going to fight with.
That is wild.
So we know she's alive and well. I think she got the DoorDash at that time. It's like looking at your watch. All of this is digitized by time, location, all of that. You can count on it. And here we're getting the same thing, just like this ping. Now, I want to circle back to Randy Harris. This is Caleb's dad. And for everybody on the panel, let me remind you, we're not having high tea at Windsor Castle with Charles and Camilla. If you have an idea, spit it out. Now is the time. Mr. Harris, I want to talk about what you just said about the ping. Oh, gosh. So we're getting a ping at 3 a.m., but you're not sure, as you and your wife were saying, where he was at the time of the ping. The phone quit working at 2:58. Did he turn it off? Did it run out of juice? What happened?
We really don't know that for sure. His phone, because he's out all the time, the phone does go dead pretty quickly because he's just using it all the time. the ping was at 3:03. It was a Snapchat picture, I believe, to one of his friends.
Okay, I want to talk about these pings because we hear it in so many other cases. I'm not crossing cases. And once the information comes out and the forensics explain it to us in almost like a 4-year-old's language, you understand that because there's a ping outside a certain area doesn't mean that they were necessarily outside of that area.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand how wide those actual radiuses are for those pings.
I mean, I live outside of Tulsa. If somebody checked my ping right now, they would assume that I'm over by the BOK Center in downtown Tulsa. Hell no, I don't go downtown. Screw that noise. Now let's go through a few things with Caleb. There was some jealousy, I'm hearing. Good family, popular. The girls were chasing him. Avid outdoorsman. Going to school for environmental science. Had a great job lined up. Getting a sponsorship with Cabela's. Had a job lined up this summer in Colorado. He couldn't wait. Could it be a crazy girlfriend? And I don't mean girlfriend. I'm talking like a Jodi Arias. Somebody that got pumped and dumped.
No, I know in the I don't know how much of the Facebook stuff you've seen, but there was something that got kept on the Facebook page, and this was the official one that was made by the family friend that they got permission from the family to make the page. So knowing that, I assume that they're not just going to let any little thing stay on there, and considering this post was like 3 or 4 days old by the time I saw it and had a lot of interactions, including with the person who created the page, I just assume they left it there because it might have some stance. That being said, there was someone that was in the apartment complex that was a neighbor that stated that they walked over there whenever they saw that there was like cops and stuff going like all over the place to see what was going on, and that whenever they were walking around talking to one of the roommate, that they noticed that the laptop that Caleb had was being looked at by the police, and then it looked like there was like a girl's photo on it. And so a lot of people were assuming that maybe he like walked over to go, do his thing with a chick real quick that lived in the apartment complex nearby, where he could just barefoot walk over there, do his thing, and be back before his food got there. Because that's a possibility. And that kind of like what you just said sort of made me think of that, because I remember writing that down in my notebook that was on the Facebook group. So I know whenever I lived somewhere where I had a friend that lived like really, really close, like the next building over, I wouldn't always wear my shoes, just go run to her door real quick. I'd go out barefoot sometimes and just run down the cement and then come right back.
Oh, I walk
I've
around
thought of
barefoot
that
all
too.
the time.
Yeah.
When an adult walks outside barefoot, I don't think anything of it. I mean,
Yeah, it just means to me that they're comfortable where they are.
they're comfortable where they are. But considering he was so active on Snapchat,
Yeah.
and what I'm hearing, I don't know enough about Snapchat to tell you, so don't look at me as the expert on anything in life, let alone these cases. If he had his location on, and there was somebody that wanted his attention, could it be?
And it was on the bridge. But again, the timeline doesn't quite add up. They were able to get, from what I understand, through AT&T, an additional ping around 312 down the street. So again, the phone was off or turned off, but there was some other activity, and it may have been an IP ping or VPN ping. I really don't know.
Okay, let's make sense of what we're hearing right now. And remember, Caleb's dad has been sifting through all the facts. He's throwing out some jargon not everybody's used to, but luckily for us, Todd Shipley is joining us, digital cybercrime expert, former detective sergeant, and author of, listen to this, Investigating Internet Crimes, an Introduction to Solving Crimes in Cyberspace. And you can find him at darkintel.info. Todd Shipley, we need you now more than ever. Because I've been investigating Caleb's disappearance, I understood what Randy Harris just said, but a lot of people may not. Explain what he's saying, because I'm not quite sure I understand how he is ordering Uber, and that's at 2:45, and then his phone is pinging down the street at 3:12. Did the phone have to move? Oh, Randy, has the phone been recovered?
No, it has not. We've done a tremendous amount of searches right off the bat, and the police were there with cadets and with search and rescue, and lots of search and rescue people from San.
Okay, so that article was wrong. He left behind his wallet, his keys, and his phone. Well, we know he couldn't have left behind his phone because he took a picture of the damn bridge.
Yeah, he had his phone whenever he walked out.
Journalism integrity is no more.
Did you not see the last one that I made a comment about? You might not have seen it. That somebody, and it was a local, which is why it was disappointing. And I'm honestly really disappointed even more because they never even responded back to my email or me tagging them on Twitter about it, but then they corrected it without like saying anything. So anyway, my San Antonio Express News, a local paper to the family, put in there something about how Caleb sent a picture of the dog to his daughter. And I was like, okay, no, they have this wrong, because this was Caleb's dad, like, reiterating this story. So it would have been Caleb's sister that he was sending the picture to, which we all knew that. But the way that they put it was that Caleb sent a picture of the dog to his own child. And so it started a whole bunch of crazy. And I was like, okay, no. And so I emailed him and I was like, can you please clarify this? Because the father has said this in this clip, and I sent them everything that I had. And I was like, this is going to cause, like, some issues if this isn't a true statement, because not only does this possibly lead this to having something else happen here that no one was thinking about before, but now we also would have like a daughter that's now missing her father, which makes this even more tragic and horrible. So can we get some clarity? And it took them like 3 days, but they fixed it. They never said anything, but they fixed it. But yeah, journalism is not awesome.
It's ridiculous. And half the time they'll do an edit with an asterisk, like anyone's going to go back and double check them.
Yeah.
Because I did see in one of the Facebook groups, someone said he has a daughter, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
and when
that's for everybody everywhere.
Flyer, this I don't know who it was. I mean, Ladybug 69 or something, said, well, he sent that picture to his daughter, and I'm like, no, Randy Harris's daughter, which would be Caleb's sister.
Yeah.
And so after back and forth, I finally just had to delete the comment because it was just it was getting too confusing. I'm like, no, he doesn't have a child.
Yep. It just takes it literally just takes one person commenting it on one thing for 1,000 people to see it and do the exact same thing. And then another 1,000 and another 1,000. And that's how all of this false information takes such a huge precedence in these cases, because it gets repeated by so many people. It's just, I'm so tired of it. I hate it.
It's just the telephone game. It just
I hate it.
San Antonio, and that was one of the biggest focuses is, obviously finding Caleb, but trying to find that phone. Even yesterday, we had the search and rescue team out of San Antonio, literally in sewer drains with cameras and ladders looking for the phone just to try again.
Can I jump in?
Shipley, you're on. Yes.
I don't know who Marginalized Individuals is. Do you recognize this name, Jules? That says your mods are a part of the cover-up.
I don't know who that is.
Wow.
What cover-up? Covering up Caleb's case? This person is psychotic.
Well, and we have actually seen some comments put into chat before that had to be, later clarified. I don't hold anything against Slim. You know, you never know how crazy Slim is. But I have a feeling that no one here is part of any cover up.
Yeah.
Thank you for playing.
That information that we had originally came in on an emergency request through AT&T because it was a potentially endangered missing person. That data that we're getting right now, we're sharing that with two of our federal partners, the U.S. Marshal Service and the FBI, as well as our local team, our local our organized crime unit, which has the resources to go through all this digital data. And the bottom line is, at this point, we don't believe that that is an accurate ping. We are working on the theory that he never left, or his phone last was located right there on the street, right in front of the apartments, right near the bridge over the drainage ditch.
Okay, so last known communication is a couple of 100 feet, yards. I'm not taking my measuring tape out there. Last known communication, and he disappears. You can't tell me this makes sense. Now, in the case of Riley Strain, let's say the autopsy comes back conclusive with the first one. I really wouldn't be surprised. He's walking the wrong direction. He's clumsy on his feet. He falls into the water. Okay, I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me. I'm glad that the family is stepping up saying we want more information. This makes zero sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really wrap my brain on this one. Like, I have no theories. Like, I mean, I have theories, but they're literally just like what ifs because of, you know, situations that could possibly happen. But there's really nothing to point to anything, is which the problem is. There's nothing to point anywhere, really.
Well, I know several people said to me, because I've kind of been, getting into it. And they were like, it looks to me like he fell in there. Well, if he fell in there,
He'd have been found in there. That's one of the first places that they looked.
He's not going to drown in there.
Yeah, I mean, unless he hits his head and lands face down, which is a possibility, but something would have had to have happened for that to happen. So I don't know. But that was looked at. And I mean, the water goes all the way down to where the pain management clinic is. They claim that his phone pinged at 312.
Yeah,
and
William.
it goes like he could have. I think the phone just went into the water. Personally, I think that maybe it just, I don't know if it was an iPhone, or I'm guessing iPhone, but I mean, those are waterproof to a certain point. If you get the certain kind, from what I'm understanding, or have a certain case on it, they're waterproof to a certain point. So I've really just been kind of on the whole, the phone was the only thing put in the water. That's why it went down and followed the water trail. It didn't ping on any of the roads. It only pinged on where the end of the water would have put it. So that's why I really think the phone's the only thing that went in there, and it just flowed down where the ping was, and that had nothing to do with him.
This guy surfs in the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
He kayaks. He's not just going to fall over that or slip in dog shit on that little patch of grass and not be.
Somebody hit him. Somebody could have hit him with their car, popped him over that bridge. He could have gotten into a fight with somebody, threw the phone in the water, and took off with him. I mean, the sad part is that there's so many possibilities, but nothing to point to anything. Nothing that's of anything. And it's, I mean, nothing that we've been told anyway. It's just a huge mystery.
It's a huge mystery.
Where he sent that Snapchat photo at about 3:03 in the morning. So right now we're working off that. We don't believe that he ever traveled over to Rod Field, which is about a mile away, a little over a mile. So
okay, let me decipher what you just said. You think the
Yes.
312 ping down the street is erroneous?
That's our working theory right now. That the preliminary data, it came in very quickly. It appeared to show him over there in that area, but at this point, we don't have a high level of confidence that that's accurate. We do feel very
So
strongly.
can you tell me
about-
this? Do you think it's wrong or you just don't know?
At this point, we feel like it's not accurate.
Wrong. Okay.
Correct.
That's really
Nancy, it
important.
does-
Thank you for telling me that before I go down a rabbit hole with a cyber expert. Is that you, Todd Shipley, jumping in?
Yeah.
Go.
It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that the phone found when it was looking for cell towers, a cell tower to talk to, and so it could have been a mile away. The chief is right. They're looking through a whole bunch of other data that we don't have yet, which would have.
Okay, I'm back. I apologize. We're having a storm. Is this storm going to hit you, Jules?
I probably should look. I don't really look at the weather. My daughter usually watches it because she likes to walk and doesn't like to walk in the rain, but I haven't checked about a storm. I know that it's supposed to be really cloudy on the day of the eclipse, which is upsetting a lot of people, but I don't know about today. Is it supposed to be bad? The one coming in today in your area?
In my area, I'm outside of Tulsa, but it looks like it's going all the way up into Rolla, Missouri, and down towards your area.
Well, I've moved since you knew where I lived, and I can't
Oh,
say it
okay.
out here because I have a psychopath ex trying to do some shady shit. But I'll check the map and see. So thanks for the heads up because I didn't even know there was a possible storm. I'm gonna have to check
They're
it.
saying like around 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to have like EF3 tornadoes.
Holy crap!
That's okay. That's good sleeping weather for me.
That's scary. I've never had to deal with a tornado. Knock
Yeah.
on every piece of wood I own.
Knock on them. It's really not that big of a deal. All right. So what he is saying is all they're talking about, it's going to take them a long time to actually comb through and find the exact ping. The exact ping. He's explaining we have a lot of geniuses. And I don't mean you guys. That are going to say, oh, the ping, the ping, the ping. Some defense attorneys have used the pings to their advantage.
Mm-hmm. I remember. Do you remember that the Jaleesa Fuentes case? It was going on whenever Kylie Rodney went missing.
Oh.
She was in California. There was a false ping in her case. There was a ping in an area, and it was part of her timeline for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then after they finally found her, we found out that it was a false ping, and the police had it like as part of the evidence of how they were trying to find her without knowing that it wasn't real, that it was an error. And then we have it in the Idaho exhibit for the PCA. It also mentions in there how there's a ping on Brian Koberger's phone in the Moscow area, but they don't believe that it's a real ping. They believe it's a false ping. So these happen all the time, which is really sad. And I think there was even just some like major situation that just happened. And I'm not trying to get political, but I think it's the Trump thing happening right now, where something about phone pings was like basically made to be useless by the way that the court was talking about how relevant phone pings are to a case. And apparently like there's thousands of cases being like there's stuff being filed to appeal all these cases that were tried on phone pings because now they've been basically being claimed in a courtroom that they're junk science and not accurate. So now there's all kinds of drama happening in that end. So pings, I really sadly, as good as technology should be, you have to take them with such a grain of salt. So this doesn't shock me that now we're finding out that this one's not relevant.
No, they're explaining. They're like they're looking for the nearest tower. Not everyone is hardwired in through Southwestern Bell like 1983 anymore. That gets a phone bill every month delivered to their mail and tells them every phone call they made outside of their area code. Doesn't work that way. You know, I mean, as we know, fingerprints are an outdated science. Hard to believe, but they truly are.
Trying to geolocate somebody with just one ping is not necessarily possible or accurate, and the chief is correct. So they're looking at the larger set of data that they've got from the cell towers, trying to figure out what other cell phones were there, who else could have been there pinging those towers at the same time. So there's a lot of data that they're trying to walk through and understand, because those cell towers collect a tremendous amount of data.
Can I go?
Okay, and before she gets on her rant, he's explaining the cell phone tower. And that doesn't mean he was standing underneath it with a kite and a key like friggin' Benjamin Franklin. It just means that's where it grabbed the communication.
Yeah. And so what they're going to end up doing now, at least this is how I picture, this is how they do things. Once they verify as much as they possibly can the tower that he actually was bouncing off of, then they'll take that and they'll get a list or some sort of list of whoever else was also pinging on that tower to a certain extent, and then they'll start looking into those names and trying to find any sort of connections.
Well, and we can check certain things off. Because law enforcement says that the roommates are cleared, doesn't necessarily mean they are. It can be for now.
For now, yep.
I'm sure they have more questions.
I mean, they'd have to have nothing but questions at this point. I don't think there's a single answer to anything yet.
And when I say cleared, I don't mean as in they're guilty of something. They could have more questions. I'm not in the book.
Know more. Yeah, they could know more.
They could know more. Like, who had he been talking to? Was there a
arguments at all?
Arguments. Was there a girlfriend that was coming around a lot? I mean, there was a lot of stuff they could ask. Anyhow. But when they talk about the phone pings, it's such a science. And don't ask me for it. Now, some other creators, and I say that in quotes, they can download an app, the same one that they use with their spirit boxes, and they can tell you exactly how it works. I don't work that way.
Yeah, I wish that they would explain how his phone went off network at 2:58, but then sent a picture. Like you can even take away the one at 3:12, right? But how does he take a picture 5 minutes after his phone? Like send it through an app, not like through his network, but send it through an app. How does he do that 5 minutes after they're claiming his phone went off network?
That's what I want to know.
Because even like in this one, because I listened to this Nancy Grace one the other day, and because I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, I'm still not understanding, because even if they're trying to say, oh, okay, well, maybe he took it and he went to send it, but it just didn't send whenever he sent it because it didn't have signal enough to send. So once it caught signal that it sent, okay, so that means he would have taken this picture at 2:58 whenever he last had signal, and it just didn't get to the person's phone until 3:03. Is that what that means? Because that makes me even more confused. I just wish that they would make this make more sense, because I'm not understanding how your off network phone is either dead or off, but you are able to do a function that you can only do with a phone that has internet access 5 minutes later.
I agree 100%. And this is just an odd picture to take.
It is. And a lot of people were like, okay, well, it's not the same bridge because it doesn't look like this, blah, blah, blah. But they're looking at it from Google Maps where you can't get on the sidewalk like you're walking like a normal human can if you're there in real life. So to me, I think that this is the one right outside of his apartment, without a doubt. There's no way he could have gotten anywhere else in the time frame that we have.
It is, and that has been confirmed. And other people have gone out there and taken video up for themselves that live
At
in
this
the area,
angle.
and they're like, "This is what they're talking about." And when they say bridge, it's more of a drainage ditch.
Yeah, it's literally just the drainage. It's just the drainage.
So no, he's not in the Gulf of Mexico from falling over this. That doesn't make any sense at all. And I mean none.
Yeah, because if he would have been in there, they'd have found him. Even if it was somebody that dumped him in there after the fact, or something crazy, like I said, he hit his head and landed face down and ended up drowning that way, which is just the most bizarre scenario. He'd have been found in that by now if that was the case. He's not in that water. His
Yeah,
phone might have been in that water, but he ain't in that water.
Yeah, I can cross that off.
Mhm.
And with, basically a half a foot of water in it, how far away is his phone going to get carried?
Yeah, that's true too. Because if it's not very deep, then the current doesn't have a lot of strength to it, and the phone is fairly heavy, especially in a foot and a half of water. I feel like it would basically be like at the bottom,
It's just like
hanging out.
mucky, nasty rainwater. There's
Yeah.
really nothing to it. So I'm going to give up on that. If I want to use Google Maps, I guess I can bring in our expert, Crime Stories Obsessed from England, because she thinks she can solve any case from 6 months behind using Google Earth. I prefer just to stick with what law enforcement says.
Yeah, it's good for kind of looking around and getting an idea of the layout, but you can't do anything with that. That's what drives me insane about the Idaho case, is that people will take images from Google of cars that were in the area 2 years ago before he ever even lived there, Brian ever even moved there, and try to
Mhm.
act like he was parked in all these different places because they see cars parked in all these different spots. And I'm like, are y'all not looking at the date at the bottom of the screen, or do y'all just not know it exists? A lot of people really think that that's live.
How do they even know? I look at Google Earth, my own house. I'm sitting my ass in here right now. I can look at it and it looks totally different.
Mhm.
But hey, I'm not the genius.
Yeah, I lived in my last place for 7 years, and it didn't change to showing my vehicle parked in the driveway until maybe 6 months before I left. Up until that entire point, for 6.5 years, it still showed the old tenant's car in the driveway. So no, these things are not up to date whatsoever.
And Google Maps is so behind. My husband's a truck driver. And if there is, let's say he's delivering to a warehouse and it's like a new industrial park, he can't find the address on Google Maps. He's got to do it old school. He's got to call and get manual directions. You know why? Because Google Maps is not updated.
Right.
I guess they think Mr. Google is sitting there all the time checking on that stuff. Oh, hell no. They're checking on us, not making sure we know our sense of direction.
Yeah, they're too busy reading our thoughts to see what kind of ads they need to push in our faces.
You got that right.
It gets on my nerves. I can't even have a thought process anymore because it's going to pop up on my screen 5 seconds later.
Yeah, I'm done with it. They just drive me insane. Well, this has been a great show, and we're going to continue to follow it. I want a round of applause, a huge one, for our friend Jules of All Trade. Please subscribe to her channel. Like I said, I don't even cover the Idaho 4 case anymore. One, I'm lazy, and two, I can't keep up with her research because it's amazing. Well, I have your email. I've got your phone number. I'm going to send you some things that were sent to me in the last couple of days. We'll put our heads together and see if they're even worthy of putting it on one channel or the other. And in the meantime, thank you for taking your time out of your schedule to talk to us and have an awesome show, because Caleb needs more attention. He does.
I agree. Well, it was great being up here. I'm sorry I couldn't come the last time we talked about it, but I'm glad I decided to take the link this time. I do have to get back to work, so I'm glad you're ending it. I got to make calls, so wish me luck arguing with all these insurance people all day.
Good luck. Good luck.
All right. You have a good day. Bye, you guys.
She is awesome. That was wonderful. I'm so glad that she took time out. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much, mods. Thank you to all the new members. My goodness, making me blush on a Monday. Muscles gifted 20 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Brandywine, thank you for the donation to the channel. And if I don't see you around in Discord, one of the Facebook groups, or just me pestering you, via text or Facebook Messenger or whatever, then I'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. I have some thoughts on the Sebastian case, and I know that some people will say, "You're tragedy pimping. I knew that Brooks would start this. Oh my God." Well, these are my own thoughts, and there's some things that I want to discuss with my friends. I'm allowed to use the internet too. Just don't tell the others. Love you guys to pieces. I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. You're the absolute best.